Hey, Michael, so excited to be together with you for this new series for the Developing Workers vlog. Thanks for taking the time.
Happy to be here. I'm excited about the topic.
So, we had a discussion as we were thinking about going forward with this vlog about what are some of the next things we'd like to tackle. And the idea of talking about spiritual disciplines was something that we both really latched onto. So I'll have you share first about why this topic excites you, and then I'll add something at the end on that. But especially as we're talking about how do we connect leaders in personal soul care with this idea of spiritual disciplines, why does this topic excite you for pastors and leaders?
Well, you use the words exactly, soul care. For leaders to run the marathon, to go the distance in ministry, they really need to take care of their souls. And I've seen too many pastors and leaders burn out because they're not actually slowing down enough to check in with the Lord for their heart. And some of the spiritual disciplines we're going to talk about in these next couple of videos are ways that we can connect with God, engage with the Holy Spirit, be in communion with Him, and really be filled and flooded with His presence and who He is and how He works in us. Because trying to do the ministry we do apart from God isn't really going to, it's not going to work.
Yeah, it's interesting. As I was preparing, I wrote down the phrase "the struggle of the now"
Mm.
for the leader. That this idea that I will tend to prioritize the spiritual well-being of others over my personal spiritual well-being. Right? It's the struggle of the now. But I've got this meeting, I've got this family in crisis, I've got this event, I've got the service, and so the struggle of the now, the now, the now, and it's almost this idea of uh, when I get time, then I'll prioritize myself. Why is that so dangerous, right? Like let's talk about that. Why is that so dangerous? Because I think it's a tension we've all struggled with.
Right. Well, the first thing that came to my mind when you asked that is there's really a level of getting into a routine or a rut of doing ministry instead of
Mm,
being engaged with God and doing what He's called us to do. And so we end up just doing and doing and doing and going out and ministering to people, but not being tied to the vine, to use spiritual language, to be connected to the Holy Spirit, causes us to wither up and dry out, and we have nothing further to give. We can do what's called of us. We can go make a prayer or preach a sermon, but without the power of God and being connected to the vine, we really don't have the access to His presence and Spirit to carry out the tasks of the ministry.
I know one of the things that we are passionate about with developing workers is developing workers to mobilize ministry. But when we talk about mobilize ministry, we're thinking about the long haul. How do we mobilize people to think longevity in ministry? And I think you and I both have been in ministry, decades that we've been in ministry each. And I'm coming up on 29 years this year of being in vocational ministry. And I realize there are many people that I entered ministry with no longer in ministry.
That's right.
And the thing that is sobering for me is there are some that God kind of redirected them other directions, but a lot of them stepped out of ministry because of a lack of care for themselves. And our heartbeat in these videos, I believe, is not that we're introducing any new concept, right? Like as we talk about each of these topics, it's not like I think there's a leader out there who's going to say, "Oh my goodness, I've never heard of this before." But I think we're calling ourselves, including ourselves, back to how are we exercising these spiritual disciplines in our lives so that we are ministering out of an overflow and not just a scarcity. And I think that's what I'm so excited about is we're not just throwing this out to others, we're challenging ourselves in this, and we'll talk about that in this. So really excited for this conversation, Michael, over these next few weeks, and just excited to have this time together.
I'm excited too, because I think that for pastors and leaders around the globe, um, they don't think about caring for themselves because they're sacrificial. They want to care for others. So here's an opportunity for us to give them permission to slow down, to take care of their own soul so that they can actually take care of other souls. So it's exciting to be doing this.
Okay, so let's dive in.